Welcome, people of the world. This is GT Time. I am your moderator / host, Kyle Bossman, and joining us as always is our uniquely talented and knowledgeable panel, including Brandon Jones.
Hello.
Ryan Stevens.
Hi.
And Michael Damiani.
Hey,
Is that hey ya?
yeah,
Like from Outkast?
not really.
Sounded like it to me.
Hey with an A at the end.
Ryan Stevens, you're joining us this week in the Bloodworth chair.
Yeah, I'm sorry I'm so short.
You're not that much shorter than Bloodworth.
Actually, I am.
How many inches are you shorter than Bloodworth?
Probably 6.5.
Oh, I bet like 3 or less.
No.
Is this a side bet?
Side bet. All right, Ryan? My bet is you are less than 3 inches away from Bloodworth.
I will bet you real money currency.
No real money. We don't do that on the show.
I will bet you
$1 an inch?
fuel points.
Okay.
I don't know what those are.
What are field points?
I don't know.
$1 an
Ryan,
inch.
here's my question for you. Have you ever watched this show?
Oh, no.
Okay. So
I've watched parts of the show.
yeah. I was curious about that. So this is GT time. It's our we just talk about what's going on in the world of games. I do have to start off with a correction this week. I made a pretty big one last week. Pretty big error. So correction music begin. Last week I said that if you cancel your Xbox Live Gold account, you get to keep your games. You can't. They did change that. And as of June 9th, it's a subscription-based access, just like PlayStation Plus.
Yeah,
So they are
they
catching up
changed
with
that.
that. And
Are there
so-
any good games with gold?
Yeah, Dark Souls.
That's this next month, right?
Yep.
So not yet.
Not yet, but they will come. Oh, and corrections music. Sorry, we have to escape that first. You got to go through. I forgot to lock in the bets last week. The bets have just been wandering off all week long. I've been having to wrangle them in because I
Wild bets.
I never locked them in. But
Bets can't be broken.
let's lock last week's bets in now. There they are. They're locked in now. So that when we can unlock them as we do.
Is this Pee-wee's Playhouse? What's going on here?
Do.
First 3 minutes of GT time are Pee-wee's Playhouse. But now we get down to business. There's basically one big news story, I think, that really affects the world of video games this week, which is the report that YouTube will be buying Twitch for $1 billion.
I thought it was 1.1.
To people listening, Damiani just did the pinky thing.
Yeah. $1 billion.
No, we get it. How many?
Dr. Evil.
How many years will we be doing that? How many years will we be doing Austin
Forever.
Powers?
It's the only
videos?
thing from Austin Powers I'll ever live on.
Sure. I don't know. Where Shag will probably live on.
No.
He didn't invent that.
I know, but he perpetuated it.
It's not even Austin Powers. Dr. Evil. Because he was the better character.
He was the best character.
Did you have the Dr. Evil Game Boy Color game?
No, I didn't have that. I don't know, didn't that seem... Sorry. That seemed like the biggest thing in the world, Austin Powers, for a year.
The biggest.
And then they're going to make so many sequels, then it vanished.
Yeah.
It's never happened.
Well,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Love Guru really.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
This-
honestly, I think
this
it's just
side
Mike
Terminated
Myers.
that
Mike
dude.
Myers is just like a weirdo who's actually not that funny in
He
real
became
life.
like Adam Sandler, and his
Yeah.
stuff started killing everything.
Well, no, Adam Sandler is still banking. He does great.
Let me
Yeah,
stop.
did you see Blended's rocking a 5% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Is it honest 5%?
Yeah, man.
It looks so bad.
Drew Barrymore.
Okay, so Twitch will be purchased by YouTube for $1 billion.
It's a lot of money. A lot of money.
Is that a lot of money though?
Yeah.
For Twitch?
Yeah.
I think that's a lot of
I
money.
think it
Okay.
seems a little undervalued. I think Twitch is blowing up so much, especially with the console integration.
Anytime you mention billions of dollars, it's like,
I'm only mentioning $1 billion.
still, that's like anything of $1 billion and more is what? That's insane to me.
I'd rather buy Twitch than an Oculus Rift, though. You know what I mean?
How about Instagram or Snapchat?
Exactly,
Or
yeah.
Tumblr or...
So the thing is, like,
You
those...
can actually monetize Twitch.
No, you
I just said
you can.
monetize.
No, it's
But like
fine.
those other ones, like social networks have like widespread appeal beyond just like gaming. They're like phenomena.
Yeah.
Twitch is a gaming phenomenon, but it only touches, I think, gaming right now. And they're just getting Twitch. Like the whole separation, like Justin TV used to be like what it was, and then like Twitch took over. Like Twitch is like the name of the company now. Justin's under it. I think it's just gaming specific, but I think they're valuing it because of how big the games industry is. And right now, when you think of streaming, you think of Twitch. There are other options, but the place where everyone wants to go to is Twitch. And I think they're paying for that like perceived value, what they're going to do with it. Mm-hmm. And it is like, I mean, I don't know how much money it generates, but like everyone's on it. Everyone's like trying to monetize Twitch. Like all the there's tons of popular streamers on there. They've got I mean, they've had to do a lot of changes because you see how many people are using it. Like they had to implement the chat delay because their chat servers are getting so strained. I hate to say it's like they constantly have like tech issues, like not maintenance, but like outages and stuff like every now and then because there's so many people using Twitch, especially with the PS4. Like that was huge. Like when they're like, oh, you could stream for your PS4 on Twitch or Ustream. I was like, Ustream, Twitch, let's do this. Like it's it's huge.
That actually leads into my next question. I'll phrase this to Brandon. Brandon, do you think YouTube can help Twitch?
Why would they want to help Twitch? What do you mean?
In terms of, like, they're having traffic issues, so they have to add a delay. Like, can being bought by a larger company, like, help Twitch? You know what I mean?
Well, all of that is based on expectations. I actually always find it funny when people get upset at something like Rockstar for having technical difficulties, or like EA might be a different story, but like there's really no way to project how much you're going to need in any of those cases because you have to make those predictions so far in advance
and in
of it actually happening.
Yeah, they exploded way bigger than I think even Twitch ever expected to, right?
Right, so you're constantly playing catch-up, and I think the popular conception around people around there that are just viewers and aren't necessarily in the industry are just like, come on, why don't you fix this right now? And it's like they are trying to fix it, and they'll probably fix it in a couple days, but by that time they'll have 100 more complaints coming in about all these other things that don't need to work. So it doesn't matter how many people. I mean, any website can crash, any service can break, anything can happen when just it exceeds the amount that people thought was going to come in.
Yeah, but like YouTube almost never crashes. See, I feel like Twitch is almost like safer with Google and YouTube. Do you know what I mean? That part is encouraging.
I mean, Google, obviously Google, technology leader. I think there was one outage on YouTube for like a few minutes. Right. And like it became a Twitter trend, and it was like for minutes. That's like how like rare outages are, or if they do happen, they're just like so short. I think it makes sense in terms of like the technical expertise they're going to get from Google. I mean, Twitch obviously I think knows streaming a little bit better because Google and YouTube had their own streaming, YouTube Live, and that didn't really take off.
Why not?
I don't know. It was always in like beta, and then when I looked at it, it just didn't look very like the interface was just like the problem that was affecting like Ustream. It just didn't. The immediacy of it, like the layout, like the chat interaction was like some social thing where you could log into Google Plus and like start talking with comments rather than just I'm a guest. I just want to start like chatting on here.
Yeah.
And then like this is how it looked. It didn't look as like nice as the rest of YouTube essentially with its like with the layout and the templates. It just looked like they were still figuring things out, and it just kind of like vanished. They had stuff on there, like people used it, but I was just like, what is Google waiting for? Like, they have the money, they have the technology.
I think they're different audiences. I think YouTube is a television audience and Twitch is a gaming audience.
I think it's more of also a mixed metaphor thing where you're used to YouTube being these videos that you click on, you play. My girlfriend famously was watching a puppy cam, and she's like, the puppies were asleep, and she tried to fast forward, and then she was like, oh, wait, it's live. But like I remember watching like every year Coachella, they'll stream a bunch of stuff, and that's like the one time I go over and I click on the windows, and it's like the Brady Bunch kind of video screen setup, and you can jump from stage to stage. But it's hard sometimes. It's like how Google like ended up sunsetting Google Video after they bought years after they bought YouTube, because you can only have so much on your plate. YouTube is where you watch these videos that are already done. Twitch, as of right now, is only for games, but to go back to Justin TV, which is supposed to be more for anything. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, Twitch kind of gobbled up Justin, but I think it really is just kind of a marketing, branding perspective, like how you get used to things. Obviously, Google has been able to be like, you have your Google Drive, you have your Gmail and stuff like that. But I think how YouTube is its own brand as opposed to Google Video, which had its little run. Right. I think it's the same thing where do you remember they had their thing Buzz, which was supposed to be their version of Twitter?
Twitter, yeah.
And they basically they just basically they were just like, it's not going to work. We're not going to do it. And they had Orkut before that, which is I think only big in Brazil and China or India or something like that. So you just have to try to do smart things.
So you're saying sometimes there's a lead that is just insurmountable. Sometimes you'll just never catch up, and it's best. It's
mind share. I mean, but what you said about their tech can definitely go over and help.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I don't have any inside knowledge, but like just my like personal theory is that like Twitch is just growing too fast, and despite them having a lot of money, despite them like we have the demand there, they just can't keep up with it. And I feel like it was a combination of like they are like the hottest, like one of the hottest streaming properties right now.
The hottest. Go ahead and say hottest.
And they just can't. They just like we just can't hire enough people fast enough to keep up with this. There's just too many new games are coming out. They're taking advantage of this. PS4 users just joined this. Xbox One users are joining this. Like crap, we can't keep up. And maybe they're putting feelers out there, and Google's like, "What you want? $1 billion?" And they're like, "Holy crap, we're gonna get a ton of money, and we're gonna get like some help because." We've done all the work to make ourselves like we are they're the hottest right now, as Kyle wants to say. They are, they have the brand recognition. Google's not going to get that on their own through their own stuff, and neither is YouTube. So it's like a little bit of a win-win in terms of like Google and YouTube are acquiring this great name. They're going to get this great like streaming service. They'd be smart not to touch any like the content shit, like Content ID. They should leave that alone for a while, not even mess with that.
What about Google Plus?
They shouldn't do that at all if they know anything about this. But what they're going to give is they should give like more support, more people, more infrastructure to help them be able to grow fast enough and keep up with that growth. And then once like it's stabilized a bit, they can like what are they going to touch and try and change? Cool. I doubt if the deal happens, like you're not going to see anything change immediately.
You know what would be cool though is if they do ignore Google Plus, but if they brought the Google Hangouts technology over to Twitch.
Oh, like that?
Why would that be cool?
If people wanted to do like kind of inter-stream stuff.
Yeah.
Twitch probably has a lot of ideas it just can't do right now because they don't have enough people, and like they probably see some appealing things about Google and their technology. Like this can be really, really good. But this all is leading to Google's game console.
Stop it. Okay, so that's a good point to end on, so we can move on to actual other news. Google's game console. Is that real? I think there were rumors about that. We shouldn't talk about it. What is
you said we were moving on.
Yeah, we're moving on. He plants seeds. Nintendo. It gave the official information about its Smash Bros. Tournament. It will be happening Tuesday of E3 week at 4 p.m. Brandon, is E3 the right time and place for a Smash Bros. Tournament?
Yeah, you said place, though, which I think is a different thing. I think it is a great time to do that, especially for them to build up anticipation of like their one lone awesome game that's coming to the Wii U. I'm
sure there are plenty of others.
I can't get excited about Best Buy, though. I don't know how is that a tournament? I'm really confused about
so
how
actually
that works.
the tournament itself is at Nokia. Best Buy is just where you can go and play it as a demo. But the tournament itself is going to be at the Nokia Theater.
They're saying that they're like, oh, you can go to the they're telling people to go to the tournament at Best Buy. I think they're using that language. I think they want people to think that there's some kind of exciting reason
There's a few things going on, and some stuff was just more announced. So the actual Invitational, the 16 players who I believe they still not have revealed as of this moment. I have not seen anything. Will be competing live at 4 p.m. Pacific or 4:30, I forget which one.
4 p.m.
on Tuesday at LA Live's Nokia Theater.
Yeah.
And whoever knows how the heck long that's going to go. Apparently it's going pretty long because that Smash Brothers Q&A with Sakurai for press is not till like 7 or 7:30 that night.
So it'll be like a
they're probably planning for that.
Sure.
That's its own thing, but then regular people can go to certain Best Buys that will have the demo to just play it for fun. But they also added another thing today. Apparently they're doing a contest. If a fan makes a video about why they should be able to fight the winner of the Invitational. They want to have like a fan versus pro thing.
Oh my gosh.
So Nintendo's saying like make a video and tell us why you feel you should challenge the winner of that tournament at a later date.
Yeah.
So they're trying to keep this like going. As some,
I
like,
hope that
marketing
person
thing.
gets owned. Whoever wins this little contest is just like, I want to fight the champ because I love Smash. I hope that person gets owned.
Should be you.
I wonder if Nintendo would release that video.
How about if it's
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I have stage 3 leukemia, and my last dream in life is to just play the new Smash Brothers game.
Get owned.
Prove it.
My bone marrow.
I want to speak to your doctor.
Just because you have leukemia doesn't mean you can't get to the Invitational on your own and like be good at Smash Bros.
According to Ryan, it is.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Sure, all right.
I mean, the concept of this is like just the tournament itself is really good.
I love
doing it during during when the actual convention is happening. It's not even like we're at a press conference territory here. We're in like people are at the show floor.
Yeah.
I just wonder. It clearly is intended for the fans and for the Smash community, not for journalists and for press.
Right.
And I think people who are most into Smash are going to care about it no matter what. I'm just worried about like if they had done this at a different time, they could have had more focus on it. I think doing it around the E3 time is right, But maybe they should have done it like on like the Sunday before all the press conferences. Like, hey, this is starting E3. Like, we're going to show you like a tournament. We've already seen enough of Smash Bros. The rule is you use the characters we've already seen. Like, there's nothing new that would be revealed to like spoil their E3 announcements about it.
Yeah.
They could have totally done that, or do it like on Saturday after E3 or the Friday. Like E3's done. Like, there's still one big thing left, guys. You get to see a Smash tournament with like pro players. Like, this is like how we're ending E3. Doing it right in the middle, like, or the start of the first day, I feel takes a little bit away from it. If they have any intention of getting like big coverage from just that.
So I almost think they're intentionally taking away from it. I think that's kind of their strategy. I think they want to take attention away from everything else, and they are intentionally putting it in the middle of all this other E3 stuff. I think that's kind of their strat.
Which makes me wonder how excited we'd be. I'm trying to think of a game actually right now if any other company did this. Like if Microsoft was like, we're having a tournament for Halo 4 new maps, you know, and you're like, oh, what a sad thing for Microsoft to do. But like if Nintendo's doing it, we're like, yay, Nintendo, yay, Smash Brothers.
It's because still a new game.
Right.
That's why.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, what new game
even
would
like
they have?
Like the only
would
thing
have a strong multiplayer
like,
component.
Like,
well, no, if it was Halo 5, I mean, they kind of did that at PAX
Yeah.
for the Omegathon or whatever.
But we haven't
it's
seen
called.
anything of Halo 5. Something that we've
Some
seen
box
footage
art.
of.
I mean, like,
yeah.
I'm trying to think if they had, like, in a hypothetical, like, if there was a Street Fighter 5 that we knew was coming, and then, like, we're going to have, like, the 16 best Street Fighter 4 players go play Street Fighter 5 in a tournament. Would that be on par with Smash? I don't think, no, just because Smash Brothers is a more popular franchise than I think any other fighting game. Not speaking to the quality of how good of a fighting game it is versus those. I just feel
Just talking sales.
and I'm not talking about how popular it is in the fighting game community. I'm just talking about
Right.
overall. Like
Yeah.
it is a huge like gaming series, but like maybe something like what if they decide to do like the League of Legends like championship during E3? Like yeah, Riot decided to show up like, hey, we're doing like the League.
They could steal
we
a
have
lot of
League of
attention
Legends
that way.
2,
Yeah.
and we're doing like the best League of Legends players, and they're going to
Well,
do a tournament there.
You're actually right though. I won't use the word bet, but I'm sure there's going to be free to play games that are going to be we're doing a tournament here, like right on the show floor, and there's just no oomph behind them.
Yeah.
But it's going to happen.
It's-
it happens every year.
Yeah, it's the money that Nintendo's throwing behind this to make it kind of a spectacle. Like you need that part of it. Just doing it's not enough.
Isn't that kind of the thing? Is like Nintendo, not to backtread too much onto the Twitch thing, but Nintendo's whole you can't monetize their videos, Evo last year, or the back and forth. I mean, it's kind of interesting that they're even taking a kind of competitive approach at all.
I think
with
this-
Smash.
yes.
I mean, it's
It's-
not outside. It's not like, oh my god, Nintendo's turned a new leaf, but obviously they're kind of reneging on what they've done in the past.
They're definitely reevaluating some of the missteps they had in the past. Like whether they liked it or not, one of the reasons that Smash has endured so much is not just because like it's a party game that everyone just enjoys to play. Like the more core fans carried that franchise through the years because they felt it was a competent fighting game, especially Melee, and and people wanted Brawl to be so much that they modified it to make it a tournament worthy fighter. Despite Nintendo will never sanction that, but at least Nintendo, I think they've seen like. We've made some announcements where we try to say like this isn't really a fighting game. We don't want it to be that, but they're like we can't fight. Like this is what your users want. It's like
For the glory
It's
mode.
like
Yeah.
any kind of like subscription or pay to play game, like or free to play where you have to pay for stuff. You give the fans what they want because they're the ones who are paying for your game.
Yeah.
It's like. If you want sales, this is what they're asking for. Like you can make both. You can make the rules so that like it's party friendly. Like leave all the items and do that.
For
like
fun
the
mode.
whole for fun and
Yeah.
for glory. It's like they finally got it. And like I think for this, like they weren't ever speaking to the fighting game community about a game that was prominent in the fighting game community. And because Nintendo would kind of ignore that, they kind of helped curb, what it could have been. Like if Nintendo was backing Smash from like day one from Melee when they saw how popular it was, it could have been like a different story, like how much more prominent it could have been.
Yeah.
Can I ask a quick question going off of what you just said?
Yeah.
So obviously, fighting game competitions. Obviously, like Capcom is always like a sponsor at Evo and everything, but it's very correct me if I'm wrong. It's very player driven. It's really kind of self-policed, self-driven. Does Nintendo kind of legitimizing their own tournament mean anything in the bigger scheme of competitive
you saw like
gaming?
Capcom has a
Yeah,
tournament.
Capcom decided to make Capcom Cup. They
Yeah.
decided to get in
Yeah,
on
but
it. Like,
who talks about that? You talk
no,
about,
it's actually
Evo.
pretty. You do, but Capcom Cup's pretty big because they're throwing money for the big prize. Like when you
much
start
is it?
I forget, it's a lot of money though.
And
Okay.
Capcom's actually very involved with its community and in development even in
Oh
balancing.
yeah, no,
Yeah,
obviously
like-
that was cherry picked from.
It helps
that
because
community.
like the U.S. side knew about that, but also it kind of stems more from like the actual Japanese development team. Like they
But-
care about that too.
Mm-hmm.
Where I feel like maybe Sakurai and the team behind Smash, they never were thinking actively like that.
Well,
That's why it was a
so
little
you may
behind.
disagree with like some of my question, but my core question is: does Nintendo doing this legitimize Smash in a bigger way, or not particularly?
It's a step towards doing it.
Okay.
I feel the only thing is some people might see this as just a gimmick to like drive hype for the game. Like it will matter what they do after the game is out, like how Nintendo supports it once the game's actually out, like and the sales have happened. Like, does Nintendo walk away like, oh, we did our job, we got our sales, we got our money. Like, you guys just do your own thing again. We'll continue to ignore Smash. Like, we're not going to like do anything, no patches or anything like that, balance updates. Like, you guys just do it under the table with your mods and stuff. Like, we'll just ignore it.
Yeah.
That's what I think matters. Like, if they start talking about like we're going to do balance updates for the For Glory mode, like we're going to like actually like, Nintendo's like, hey, at Evo next year, if it's going to be there, like, hey, like we want to do a sponsorship. We want to like have like the Nintendo Cup or I don't know.
Have
Yeah.
they confirmed
It-
this won't be on the 3DS?
What do you mean?
What? During the tournament? The tournament they're using.
Oh, that would be
Actually,
very
that'd be
troll.
I don't know.
Control, right?
It's like Damiani used the word spectacle, and I think that's what it is. I think that we talked a lot about press conferences and how that thing missing is like the audience cheering. And I think this is Nintendo's one chance this E3 to get an audience cheering for their games, and I think that's pretty key. I think it might work.
And I think for people at home, this is why I say it's not for press and industry, because people
Yeah.
at home who watch E3 through streaming and through the like, TV channels, however they watch it,
Yeah.
at 4 o'clock that day, like the conference is almost over, like, oh man, like I don't want E3 to end today, like I want to see more videos. I'm checking all the sites and YouTube for the gameplay videos and interviews. It's like, oh, Smash Brothers tournament right now. Like
Yeah.
I like saw the like Nintendo Direct this morning. Holy crap, this cool stuff. Oh, I want to see pro players play this game. I'm
If
tired
I
of
didn't have
seeing,
to
like,
work, I would be watching that. I totally would.
I think that the average person who cares about E3 at home is going to be watching that,
Yeah.
like on the stream. I think it'll be huge, and then Twitch Stream Monsters are going to have a field day with that. I'm going to be sad.
I
I'm
hope
going
so.
to miss it.
Yeah. Nintendo's gonna have to deal with all the comments. Another big thing that happened over the course of last week, there was a report that a collection of Halos 1 through 4 will come to the Xbox One this year.
Halo.
And this is weird. It is a ton of Halo. What's weird to me is how widely accepted this is. Basically, this rumor is just like an accepted fact at this point. Not only because NT Kernel leaked something very similar in January, but all the sites are like reporting it. For now, we put report at the beginning of our headlines instead of rumors. So it's, I don't know, it's most likely 99% fact. What's interesting to me is like, when leaks like this happen, is that like on us to not talk about it? Should we move on in the show, or is it like, hey, publishers, do a better job keeping secrets? Brandon, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't think we should spend a lot of time on it, but yeah, I don't. Well, who knows how this secret was given and spread out. This might not be happening. Who knows? I mean, we just don't really know anything. So.
Right, but we totally like report on it. Our own site has like report. Halos 1 through 4 are coming. Do you know?
Yeah, I don't have a hard time discerning like the big news like that from small news. So I think you brought up another point on the email you sent us talking about just remakes in general, and
Yeah.
I think that is actually an interesting story. Well, not remakes, but just this kind of HD update.
Yeah.
and how that should be approached.
Well, how do you-
especially in
It's not
terms
even
of
HD
E3.
updates anymore, though, right? Because I mean, if that's
Yeah,
true,
we can't-
Halo 3 and
Higher
4,
definition.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
an ER and higher.
and like The
True
Last of
HD,
Us.
1080, 60
Yeah.
frames. What,
True
what-
HD.
GAF True HD.
Yeah. So
New
wait, how do you
gen
feel about
update.
that? How do you feel about True HD, Brandon?
I love it because, like you were saying, it's making the jump to HD, so it's just a little bit glossier. So there's no real way to like screw it up. Like Tomb Raider looked better. Like when there was no point of Tomb Raider. I think I remember Bloodworth said something about the trees looked a little weird.
Oh,
Definitive
sorry. Yeah, I know what
Editions.
you're talking
Yes.
about. Sorry.
But yeah, you just don't. It's the kind of thing at a press conference that you get up and you list like 10 of them. You don't like say, "Oh, we have a cool announcement," and then the lights dim, and "Oh, what's this going to be?" And then the trailer comes up, and like, it's the game we already played.
Right.
Like that pisses me off. But when the idea, the new story on its own is cool. I mean, it's. I'll probably play Halo 2 again. I doubt I'll play Halo 1 again because I played the old HD when they did the
Anniversary
combat
edition?
updated or whatever. Yeah, the
Anniversary edition. Yep.
But I don't need to play Halo 3 again. But like Halo 2 HD, that sounds like fun. Be
Yeah.
another excuse to throw that game in. And I think especially for someone who hasn't played that game, which I missed a ton of games in this last generation. So like Mass Effect, great example. They were
You-
like the
you would
Mass
like
Eff-
you
they
want a
did
true
the
HD?
Mass Effect trilogy updated on PS4. I'd be like, oh god, I got it. This is it. It's time. I never played Mass Effect. It's
I feel like you
what a
can
perfect
count.
opportunity.
You can count on that.
Great, I'm excited.
Report Mass Effect True HD
We
coming.
just did it right now. We broke it. But
Yeah.
what a perfect opportunity. To...
Damiani, does a thing like that belong in a press conference though? Like, how much time do you want to see dedicated to true HD versions of games?
It shouldn't take up as long as like a regular new game announcement, but I feel like a compilation like that, just the fact that if it is true, like the fact that you're getting 4 Halo games spanning like 2 generations from Xbox to Xbox 360, redone, enhanced. I think that deserves like getting like discussion at the press conference. It's one of those like single ones, like when Nintendo did like the Wind Waker HD, like just one game. Like I'm not like knocking the Wind Waker HD
Yes,
game.
you are. You
but
did it again.
No, I'm talking about like
every single show.
look at how like most of Sony and now these rumored Microsoft collections are going.
Yeah.
Where they include multiple games that they're doing
Oh,
rather
like
than
God
like
of War.
one.
Yeah.
I mean,
We got a slight.
you could argue about how much
yesterday.
time they spent on the Wind Waker HD versus the other ones, but then they said it took 6 months to do that. So like that argument's bullshit. Like how long they took? Like they spent 2 years making it. Now it's 6 months they did it. It was not that much like work for them to do that.
It was so much work.
So here's an example. Like, this would be like more exciting to me than just like a single game. Like a single game HD update, I feel should get in a montage or of
Okay.
like of a game thing. Like, but if you're doing a giant collection for like a huge franchise, that I think is exciting enough for some people to just announce it there and then maybe show a little bit of footage of how it looks and then move on. Like, don't do like a whole like we're gonna do like a 10-minute like gameplay demo like through this like level or. I don't know if it's interesting enough. Like you said, like Halo 2, like maybe they go, here's like the best Halo 2 level or map, like multiplayer
Zanzibar.
map. We are playing it right now, like live, and like this is how it's going to look when you play it this fall or something. It'd be
yeah,
like,
I would actually.
oh,
I would
shit.
personally be hyped if they showed Zanzibar.
Report Zanzibar is the best
So,
Halo 2
I mean-
multiplayer map.
Dude, how exciting would do you think this would be? Like,
Okay.
just to give you a comparison, real quick, because you're like Wind Waker HD was enough.
Yeah.
What if Nintendo came out and pretend the 3DS version of this never existed? They said you're going to get Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, The Wind Waker, and Twilight Princess HD in this collection, and like showed off footage of like all
That's too
4
much.
of them.
That's too much.
Halo, 4 Halo games.
That's like so.
I get N64 takes more work to do that,
Yeah.
but 6 months for Wind Waker.
So Damiani does not appreciate. There's history behind this. Everyone, he gave the game a 7.8. Does not appreciate any of the improvements that were made in Wind Waker HD.
oh, I appreciate it.
They changed the game's design. I hope you realize.
They didn't go far enough. Like that's different. Like for these Halo games, like as far as we know, they're just updating the visuals, and then like if there's anything that can't work because it was like an Xbox One or Xbox 360 specific function,
Yeah.
like that's like something they have to tweak. That's acceptable to me. Like you're not opening the box of we're actually altering key things to like improve them or like change what the original game was. That's kind of like what the Wind Waker did.
Yes, and
I don't
that's
feel
why
like
Wind
Mom
Waker's
and
the
Dad,
best.
stop fighting. Anyway, how awesome! Like literally, like forget if it's impossible. If you got those 4 Zelda games announced in an HD collection, that's like it's coming this fall.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be excited. You'd be like, everyone would be going nuts.
I'd
like Nintendo fans.
honestly, I'd rather just have Majora's Mask by itself and be improved and like worked on as itself than just like we're just putting all these games out.
Super
on
Mario
one.
64, Sunshine, and both Galaxy games in an HD collection.
No, one at a time. Those games.
What?
They gotta be savored. They gotta be savored.
No,
Too much?
Am I alone here? Do you guys all just want these like big weird collections of games and just have them all
I
at
think
once?
they really
there's
exist.
two questions here.
Okay.
I think it's amazing that old games are getting a second chance at life.
Sure.
I think it's and being updated a little bit. I also think it's a little weird that the little Ouroboros has started to eat almost all of its tail. I mean, if this is true and Halo 4 is getting re-released already, a little weird.
Oh, The Last
Little
of
weird.
Us, dude. Last of Us was last year. Yeah.
Single games sometimes like these, like the Tomb Raider and stuff. Those don't mean quite as much to me, just personally. But on the other side, this being the leak is news, the game itself is small news, is what I would say.
Right.
Like, do you really want to go to a press conference where it's like, we're re-releasing this, and this, yeah, and they're updated? I don't care. I want to see new... I'm a novelty vampire. I want to see new games.
Okay.
I want to see new gameplay.
Like that.
I want to see CG trailers where people are going to be like, there's no gameplay. I'm like, but can you imagine what it's going to look like?
That's E3. There it is. Yes. Yes.
I think I just was Christopher Lloyd.
Can you imagine?
Great Scott, Marty! No.
So
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
that makes sense. That's why you
No,
don't
no,
spend
you
too
just-
much.
right.
You don't announce an individual HD update to anything at
unless
like E3.
you're Konami on a pre-recorded press release, press conference.
You announce like a collection of like a huge franchise, and you don't spend that much time on it.
Will
you
any
just
of
like
these games support
it's coming.
transfarring?
None of them will.
Transfarring. Is transfarring dead?
Transfarring
the
is
cloud.
officially dead.
No, like the term transfarring.
Yeah,
It's
we
like,
killed
we're
it.
Done. We're over
We still
it.
use it though. We just like even.
No, I don't really. Who uses it?
I like it better than cloud save. It's such a funny word.
The revengeance of transfarring.
Next news story: Far Cry 4 Season Pass spotted on GameStop. So the Season Pass for Far Cry 4 is $30 right now today. You can spend $90 on Far Cry 4 without seeing any more than box art.
Half the price of the game for 1 year season pass.
Yeah,
Up front right now.
right. Insane. It's so crazy to me. Because basically, what are you eyeing about? What's wrong?
No, this is bad.
Why is this bad?
This is not good. It's good for people. I guess it's good for people who are going to spend that money anyway if they're getting a discount. Mm-hmm. I just hate this.
No, I love this train. Where are we going?
I want that. Let me the fact that I guess it's more like I kind of miss the days when like expansions or like extra like story stuff like were revealed like after the fact. Like, you got to enjoy the actual game before you knew there was anything else coming. It's like, and then they'd have like save that like, hey, guess what? You finished the game like a month later. New DLC is coming. Like, we're supporting it. They do it now because they want you trading your game back in. Like, they want you to hold on to your game. Mm-hmm. Where it felt more, at least it felt a little bit more satisfying when I was told about this stuff. I miss playing like, you know, X game. Like, it's been a month since I played. Like, oh, big, like, we got a new DLC coming out like 2 months from now. Like a giant new story based one. Like, really? That's awesome. Like, I felt better about that. I still was a little like, if it felt like something that could have been originally in the game, I felt like a little disappointed. But something that clearly, like, this is something clearly new. Like, this is not something they were going to put in the original game. This is going to, like, I get to enjoy this world a little bit more. That was awesome when it was After Effects. All this stuff, and like, it's just part of the marketing sales push now. It's like, I hate that crap.
Oh, yeah,
Stop.
it's like-
It's designed from the ground up to be that.
Yes,
way.
it's like this whole
Yeah.
planned thing now. It's like,
it's still like a gray area. Like, I felt like a lot of the Mass Effect, which you haven't played, DLC. You read a lot of the scripts though. I feel like a lot of the Mass Effect DLC you could totally skip. And then when everyone was complaining about, what was his name, Javik, the Promethean in 3,
the one you got right away.
if you bought it
Yeah,
new or something,
I
it's like
haven't.
Catwoman. It's like the Catwoman DLC. It's a gray area because it is in the end always going to be an opinion based thing. But it's like sometimes something seems ridiculously critical to the game, especially when it's story driven, versus something that's like a side story or a weird little addition or like a spin-off. And to your point, what was the first Resident Evil 5 DLC?
Lost in Nightmare.
Yeah, that was, how awesome was that to break out RE5?
But we didn't
like
know.
a year
I don't
later.
think I knew that was coming.
Exactly.
Unless I was just ignorant. Like, that was.
Yeah.
They might have said there was some DLC coming. I didn't know what specifically it was. Then they showed. I'm like, whoa, that was never going to be
But
in the game.
it's
and
weird
this
when
is
the
like,
DLC. It's weird when the DLC is coming months after, or like less than 90 days after the game.
It's because they know people won't wait that long anymore. They're like, we just looked at the numbers. Too many people trade in our games,
Yep.
and we like lose
Ninja
those
Raging.
sales. And then
Yeah.
they're not going to buy that DLC we've been working on. We got to message it sooner. We got to tell them like sooner. And then it became to the point like, let's just all bundle it. What if we get their money now? Like, make them pay a little bit less for all of it. We get their money now up front. They
Then
don't
they'll
even
never
have the
trade it
game
in.
yet.
Yeah, they'll have spent $90.
Then they're not going to trade it
Yeah.
in because they got to wait for that stuff.
Oh my gosh.
The only thing I can say for advice is that, I mean, this is probably maybe a little harder for like people with like part-time jobs, like kids in high school and stuff. But you're gambling with that season pass, and you're not saving all that much money. The only season pass I've ever bought in my life was BioShock Infinite, and the first thing you got was a horde mode, right? And I
Yes.
felt like a lot, not me, to be fair, but I know a lot of people felt burnt on that.
Absolutely.
I think it's way better just to buy that stuff piecemeal. If you know DLC is coming, hold off on the season pass. You may, even if you buy it all, you're going to end up paying an extra $6,
And then you
maybe.
can
and I
actually-
know that's not an insignificant amount of money, but it is an insignificant amount of money.
And you can still buy that season pass now. Nobody says you have to buy the season pass early is a thing. You can go buy that
Well,
BioShock Infinite season pass
yeah,
today,
well,
which is a funny thing.
That's why I also miss a little bit. Like, you could buy all the DLC into piecemeal for a little bit more, and then after all that, they're like the Game of the Year edition, which includes everything, like RE5 Gold.
Yeah.
like, they include all that. Like, I didn't feel bad about that. I was like, no, I wanted to play that stuff when it came out. I've been waiting long enough, but I guess that just doesn't cut it anymore. Like, we can't wait that long. We got to get the money up front. We have to like make her money back.
I'm real nervous about this game. GameSpot pulled some really interesting quotes from like an investor call that Guillermo gave to like all the investors. It says Far Cry 4 will have a lot more multiplayer than Far Cry 3. then went on to say, "We are working on launching games that will be played for a longer time. This will allow us to do more DLC and item-based sales in those games." To me, that is misunderstanding why Far Cry 3 worked. And it's so disappointing. It's like, oh, Far Cry 3 was a hit. Let's add more multiplayer into it. Let's add items you can buy into it. To me, that's totally misunderstanding why that game is a success, and it bums me out. It makes me nervous for this game.
Multiplayer map creator tool, and then let people like sell their maps, and then like the company gets to keep a cut of the sales.
Like a Team Fortress kind of
Yeah.
thing.
There you go.
That's not happening.
No, but that would be better.
That's your plan? You're CEO of Ubisoft for a day?
You need to tap into like user created content. Because
Yeah.
that what gets people keeps people playing after the fact,
And they feel less
if you don't
cheated,
have
I
DLC.
think.
And it's like it's coming from the community, and you let them set the prices and stuff, and like, okay, well, you guys set it yourselves. Like, we're not dictating to you. You guys did it.
Yeah.
We like a flat rate of like what we're going to take from you, but you guys pay what you feel like you want to, or charge what you want to charge, and do that. That's not going to always work, but I don't know. I always felt like mod tools and like or user creation tools were one of the keys to keeping people playing a game long after it came out. And that's like where a lot of mods turned into their own games eventually. Like that's kind of being like lost a little bit, I feel. Oh, I mean, on consoles it hasn't been always the thing, but on PC that's kind of like the route some places went. But consoles can do that now, and I feel like that's kind of like a missed opportunity.
So, correct me if I'm wrong, though, but I think the reason Far Cry 3 worked best was because it had an interesting story. Not because of its, core FPS controls and mechanics.
I also think they really hit a good marketing point for a lot of people that maybe don't go to a ton of websites, and that's Skyrim with guns.
Yeah,
I'm not joking.
sure.
And I also, the most powerful people will talk about social networking, they'll talk about viral marketing and stuff. Far Cry 3 had really good word of mouth.
Yeah.
Which is the original social networking.
Mm-hmm.
Like people talking about it on the bus and stuff like that. I mean, I've seen this happen. So it was kind of a little more organic. I think that game did.
Wait, what's specifically your example of hearing people talk about it?
This is actually a little bit of a stretch, but I was in North Carolina at a Gears of War Judgment thing, and everyone was just talking about Far Cry 3.
Really? That's
pretty
cool.
much. And I hadn't played it at that point, and I remember Bloodworth being like the co-op's kind of broken. And this one guy, I forget where he was from, he was like, well, I was like, oh, but what about the co-op? He's like, oh, it's awful, but it's my game of the year.
Yeah.
You can completely divorce, and that's fair. I mean, that's your opinion. You can completely divorce something. So hopefully these buying items bullshit's not going to matter all that much.
Right. I'm nervous. I'm nervous about that game.
But don't be nervous. I mean, look at all the story tidbits you get out of that image that they've released. That's the first thing. It's like my brain starts spiraling into the story concepts.
Can't tell if you're being sarcastic yet or not.
I'll tell you what I'm being sarcastic about, or not, rather. It's funny that all the little things they can buy definitely. You think about that image of this guy in this purple suit with all
you feel like you're
his,
giving him
his
money?
hoard of items. Yeah, they're up in the
exactly.
background. It's just like, you paid how much for Far Cry 3? Well, come to my island.
This is
You
the
know, the
definition of
Only
insanity.
people that said the grenade, they're sitting there with the season pass, just waiting.
God. You're right. No, it can't be unrelated. Welcome to my island. On the opposite end of all this weird, sneaky greediness is Witcher 3 developers won't play with platform-exclusive content, was the name of the headline.
Yeah, but will Warner Brothers Interactive?
Right. They won't. No, CG Product Red is like, hey, if we're not going to add any platform exclusive thing. We're going to be fair to everyone. Everyone's going to play the same game. My question to you is, if Witcher 3 succeeds, will publishers like Ubisoft, will they say oh, we're doing it wrong? Or will they say, well, CD Projekt Red gets to do that because they're a small team. We have investor meetings. Will will success for Witcher 3 mean anything to this industry?
No, because there's trends.
Not in that regard, yeah.
I mean, the people are going to dry hump the cash cow until it's dead.
Don't say that. I want to believe Witcher 3 sells millions. It goes to 5 million, and Yves sits there and he goes, "Wow, I'm making games wrong."
No, I think just that developer earns the right to do what it does because their game sells so well and it's a quality product. I think those are the nice exceptions. I think that's what some developers strive for, but I don't think everyone gets to enjoy that luxury. I think companies, their publisher sets the sales expectations. You don't quite hit it, or you know whatever it is. They're like, how could we make ways to make this game more profitable next time? Like it was close, but we need to squeeze a little bit more money out of it next time. And that's where this crap comes from. Or certain franchises, like they try and build a new franchise around that model now because like it's like the franchise model. It's like, well, how do you make like a normal franchise in any other medium? The toys, like, you know, the figures and stuff like that are going to be sold, like all the licensed stuff. Like we're going to make a lot of money from that. Like gaming, it's like, how are we going to do that? Well, we have all that licensed stuff, but like we also have the ability, like we can't sell DLC in a movie yet. You know, when you go watch a movie, but we can sell DLC in a game.
No,
it's like,
There's DLC in movies. It's called the 3D glasses.
oh, those are the collector's editions. Do you want to go see like the collector's box edition?
Gotta buy Terminator 2 again.
Terminator or whatever with the 3D goggles for $10 more, or would you like? Because yeah.
So I feel, if we're talking about movies, I feel encouraged by what Marvel's been able to accomplish because they put the people who care about story in charge. The people who are not conventionally thinking about, oh, like this costume looks stupid in a movie. They're like, we care about these characters, we care about these stories, and then those movies make the most money. And I want to believe that games could do the same, where people care about the stories and their characters, that those games could make the most money. Brandon, is that unrealistic?
You can't just draw that across the entire industry. I mean, that obviously, I mean, the advancements in the time and the care that they're taking to The Witcher, I think is not reflective of just games in general. I think I'm more excited about it in terms of specifically the fantasy genre. It's like I want to see, like, that looks like the fantasy game that I've been waiting for, that I thought Skyrim would hopefully be. But they're just, I kind of felt a disconnect in Skyrim with like talking to people and how repetitive it was. I mean, like the arrow in the knee became its own joke, you know. And so it's just kind of a weird like open world. And so they really like Bloodworth. Whenever he writes entries for countdowns or things about Witcher 3, he always says Dream Project. Like they keep repeating that over and over and over again. They're like, this is the game we always wanted to make. And yet, I don't think anything at Ubisoft is the game there. Maybe the pirate game they always wanted to make was AC4, but that's just not their company that they are. That's not the kind of stuff that they do. They have to reintroduce their franchises again and again.
That's such
and again.
a sad fact. I don't think any game Ubisoft is making is their dream project.
Yeah,
is Rainbow Six Ubisoft?
That was Propaganda Studios' dream project, and when that studio folded,
Rainbow Six would happen
like
if they cared. You know, if they were like, no, it's Rainbow Six. We gotta, you know, support this.
Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six.
They're like, it's just not. Yeah, let's do The Division. Let's do something else with Tom Clancy's name. Let's not, you know, because. Whereas if they like you were saying, they had someone if they had someone that loved Guardians of the Galaxy as much as the people that made that movie, that loved Rainbow Six as much as that.
Where are those people? Where are they?
They're unemployed or not working at Ubisoft or forced to work on other things. Which I can't, you know, fault Ubisoft because I loved AC4. Like Ubisoft actually I put on the tier of actually being able to pump games out and still have them be quality stuff.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Far Cry 3.
Rayman was incredible. Far Cry 3 was really fun. So yeah, he's not someone that I think is totally off base, but I don't think he'll change based on what anyone else does.
Cool. That's our final news story for this week. Before we go, we have to make our big bets, our big closing bets.
Well, that's a good show, guys.
No. Brandon, this is your week, man. I'm really feeling it this week. This is the week Brandon wins the bet. Watch Dogs comes out next Tuesday. This week's bet. How many instances of the words but, however, and although will appear in Game Informer's review of Watch Dogs?
I have one quick question.
Yep.
Because I have to deal with this sometimes.
You're allowed.
Is it straight but or comma but? Because I'm always policing comma buts, but sometimes
Comma butts are included in this bet.
But all buts.
So anytime
all
any,
buts are in.
So anytime any one of those words is mentioned, that's like one number, and we have just add up those.
Yes.
Any mention of all three. Okay.
Yes. And it should be noted, review date is Tuesday. Like all review embargoes go up Tuesday. Brandon, you may choose who goes first on this bet.
I'll go first.
Wow. Okay, Brandon's going first.
14.
Ooh, it's good. That's a good bet. 8.
That's pretty good. I honestly think they're going to say all those 0 times. I don't think many people use that as much. I bet there'll be 3 buts and 2 however, so 5.
So specific.
5.
Okay, sure.
Ooh. Is this like Price is Right? If you go over?
No. It's good.
It's closest?
Closest. Closest. For blood. You're his proxy.
6.
Okay.
That's a Bloodworth bet.
The bets are locked in. That was a Bloodworth bet. Those bets are locked in. Let's unlock last week's bets. Last week we bet on How many words would be in Microsoft's reaction to the NPDs? Yeah, the actual number of words in that blog post on Xbox Wire was 461. So Bloodworth won that bet with a bet of 500. People are like, that's impossible to guess. But actually, I think there's a ton of logic behind that. So there was about 650 in March's NPD response. And you have to figure April, they're going to have a lot less to talk about. Titanfall's old. And it's not good news. So yeah, you just go dramatically worse than that, and then that's what won the bet. So because Bloodworth won that bet, Ryan, as his surrogate, you are allowed
To recommend a video, right?
recommend a video and then
Okay.
close us out. And then, give us the goodbyes.
Well, I'm recommending Top Secret, which is streaming on Netflix.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
No, it has to be on our site.
No, it's a good movie. No, it's a really good movie. We were talking about it before. Everyone should
man,
totally
this is
see
good.
it.
Val Kilmer before
Yeah.
before he was fat.
That was before it was Naked Gun before Naked Gun.
A farce.
It was one of the first films. Yeah, good.
Oh, Bloodworth is going to be so disappointed. That's what you did with his winning bet.
Really got nothing. I mean,
I told you I was
We're
going
All right,
to take care of you, Brandon.
close us out.
So
Face the camera.
which one? There's like six of them.
Center camera.
May your titanite always twinkle, and your stones be smooth and silky.
follow us on Twitter.
Was that the whole thing? Was that your whole close?
You invited him on the show.
Sure, all
It was
right.
your idea, Kyle.
Bye, everybody.
As a side plug.
I'm really glad you took your glasses off for that one. I love the Xbox. Box. 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 Box.